I had decided not to do anything about the Ollie Gordon situation. There didn't really seem to be much to say. And then, as more responses came out on the internet today, particularly with media days for Big 12, uh, it got harder and harder to keep my mouth shut. And those who know me won't find that particularly surprising. So I am going to talk a bit about Ollie Gordon and Mike Gundy and situation in general. Before I do that, it's still going to be the same old thing as usual when I say this is WVU football going deep. I am Forrest Poston. I have made mistakes. Sometimes I have gotten caught. I have usually learned something from the mistakes. Sometimes it has taken me 10 or 20 years, but I have learned something. Whether or not I learned the right thing is sometimes debatable. And please share, subscribe, click the thumbs up button if you would, click the notification bell, and tell your friends. All right, now, okay, Ollie Gordon, DUI. And it's not alleged. He essentially admitted it or let's say somebody admitted it in the apology that was published. I'll get to that if I remember. And he was underage. I mean, we are talking about two laws. And underage drinking in college is, it's going on right this moment in pretty much every college in the country. And by right this moment, I don't mean this year, this month, this day. I mean this very moment. It's something that young people tend to do. Not all young people, but it happens. And generally speaking, it doesn't cause a long-term problem. But that is a lot different from doing it in a moving vehicle. Now, so what do we do? Now, if it was an ordinary student, there is a fair chance in a lot of schools in this country they would be kicked out of college, which doesn't really solve anything. But zero tolerance was the idea for a while, and some people still believe in it. But how do we take a bad situation and improve from it? I mean, I think, that's the kind of thing Coach Brown would probably say. How do we face adversity? And I think that's the big trick. People have to help Ollie Gordon make something better from this mistake. That's not reward for the mistake. Making something better is going to involve some pretty hard thinking and work. We'll get to that, probably. But University of Southern Indiana, where I taught before I pissed off too many administrators, or just a couple, really. That's all it takes. Once upon a time, back around the year 2000, their mission statement was by far the best I'd ever seen. Included the summary: "Our primary mission, therefore, shall be to help the students learn to live wisely." I don't think you can sum it up any better. They did not live up to that mission statement, and they watered it down over the years, and I think it may be completely gone. I don't exactly bother to read it since I haven't worked there for over 20 years. But it summarizes really what education should be about. And coaches are part of that education. That's one of the things I love about Neal Brown. He recognizes that football is about life and coaching is about teaching. And teaching isn't telling, teaching is helping learn to live wisely. Meanwhile, Gundy, in various interviews, and I haven't watched every interview he gave today, I don't think I could take it. In one, he said that, well, based on the legal definition of DUI, he had done it 1,000 times. I don't really think that is justification for what Gordon did, justification for how to handle it. I think it's just a pretty stupid thing to say, period. Now, he has come out and said that he didn't mean anything specific, just that we all make mistakes. And the fact that we all make mistakes does, again, not mean that we shouldn't do anything about it. And then in another interview, Gundy said quite clearly that he would do what was best for Oklahoma State football. I was waiting for him to say, and Ollie Gordon. He didn't. Oklahoma State football. That's it. That's a problem. I see that as a real big problem. And he went on to say that there would essentially be no punishment. And joking, I assume, said, unless it was to have Gordon run the ball 50 times in the first game, which basically means, hey, I'm going to let him spend more time doing what he loves and run up his stats against an inferior opponent. Yeah, that's going to help Gordon learn to live wisely. So, what do I think should be done? Specifically, I'm not going to give you specifics because I don't know the specifics of the situation. And specific answers depend on specific information. But it starts with Gordon sits down for a very long talk or several talks with the head coach, position coach, and any coach that he's close to. The goal of those talks is to figure out why this happened, what to do to keep it from happening again or anything similar, and then based on that, what punishment should be given. And actually, punishment's probably not the right word. It's probably part of it, but rehabilitation, what does he need to help him learn why he did this and learn how to prevent doing it again. How to learn to live wisely. And most of the time, you don't learn real well by yourself. Conversation really is one of the best ways. I happen to know writing is another. That's part of what I taught. But conversation is one of the big ways you learn. Because Gordon doesn't really know, probably, why he did this other than he's young. I don't know if it involved who he was hanging around with. Does he need to make changes in that regard? All sorts of factors. But he needs to sit down with the coaches and probably then with somebody else to figure this out and to dig past the first layer of answers to really get to, as much as you can, root causes. And to me, that's pretty obvious and pretty simple. You figure out why something happened, you figure out how to change it, and you apply that. Now it's going to, just taking a good hard look at yourself to really understand your own thinking and motivations is sometimes hard enough. I mean, we all have dragons. Facing them can be not only frightening, but very, very painful. Dragons, hey, dragons tend to chew you up. And one of the things you have to learn is that it's kind of like video games, you do get to come back and face them again until you figure it out. But that's part of the punishment. Now, long term, I think it is an advantage to come to more self-understanding and then applied understanding. Meanwhile, what we've actually had, I think it was 8 days after the incident that we got the formal social media published apology. And I don't think there's any way in the world that Ollie Gordon wrote it. I read it. It is, I mean, it just reeks of PR and lawyers. It's very bland and just full of cliches. So first, one thing, I think Ollie Gordon needs to apologize himself. Now, of course, he's said some things in interviews at media days. Yeah, Gundy says it's punishment to make him attend media days. Haven't watched all the interviews, watched one with BYU. And, I mean, it was clear that the media guys were not pushing this. They were asking softball questions, helping him along, enabling the interview, which in many respects becomes enabling the behavior. That's not good. I don't know if they decided to do this or if Oklahoma State or the Big 12 pretty much said, do it this way or you don't get to do an interview. And they should have said, fine, we won't do an interview, but that's not how media usually ends up working. And I have a feeling that Gordon spent a lot of time this week with PR and lawyers rehearsing how to answer questions. And the questions were pretty predictable. So none of that really helped anybody except the Big 12 and Oklahoma State. So more needs to be done. And again, yeah, punishment of some type likely needs to be involved, but the point is helping learn to live wisely, which is tough. I mean, heaven knows I'm still working on it. I don't know, some people think I'm pretty good at it at times, and I have my serious doubts at other times. But we have to, we have to get ahead of this because, okay, yeah, this kind of thing has always happened. The first teenager did something really stupid. I don't know what it was, but it's a safe bet that they did something really stupid because it's the nature of being young. I have videos out there talking about some of the stupid things I've done. And there are some of them I'm not going to tell you about. But we now have a lot of 18 to 23-year-olds who are already dealing with adulation and fame. Now we've handed them large sums of money very suddenly. That is not a good combination. Youth, fame, and money. We're going to see more of these kind of situations than ever before. We need to figure out how to minimize it before it happens. And, well, nobody's going to ask me how to do it. And I'm not too sure how to do it on a large scale, aside from changing the entire nature of our education system, which has really been my goal for, well, I suppose it was my goal before I knew it was my goal. But I didn't do it. Anyway, Ollie Gordon, he has my best wishes. I hope somebody forces him and helps him learn how to live wisely. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I do have a video about the depth chart that was posted. I've still got to edit it. I'm probably going to make that one wait until after I finish editing this one. And then I will get on to the recruiting update and a few other things. We've got, hey, West Virginia does their part at Media Days tomorrow, so I'm sure there will be video material from that. Anyway, it is getting a bit late and I have not eaten supper. I don't know if that means I've learned to live wisely or not, but I'm going to go eat anyway. So long.